on Thacker, and I had never seen Mission Impossible, excluding Fallout, which I had seen before. I was aware of how highly rated this franchise was, but I had just never watched them. But with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning coming out, supposedly the final Mission Impossible movie, I thought that was a good opportunity to finally watch Mission Impossible. And it is so odd to see a franchise that gets better as it goes on. I won't go into too much detail because I do plan on doing a ranking of every Mission Impossible movie, but to give my brief thoughts: first one, really good. Second one, pretty low good. Third one, really good. Fourth one, great. Fifth one, great. Sixth one, great. Seventh one, really good. For the most part, every installment gets better and better. The Mission Impossible is not only very entertaining, but these are great films. And I think once you get to like 4, 5, and 6, there could be a serious argument these are some of the best films ever made. So needless to say, I was very excited for The Final Reckoning, the big fan of his almost 30-year-old saga. So now you've seen Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, it's really good. But really good isn't the Mission Impossible standard. Now I know it's not fair to compare this movie to the previous Mission Impossible movies. As I said, these are great films. So I'm going to talk about this movie by itself for now. Not as a Mission Impossible sequel, just as a movie. Again, this is a really good film. This is very well made. But I do think this movie has quite a few problems holding back from being great. For one, the first half of this movie has some pacing problems. I don't think it flows super well. I do think once it gets halfway through, the pacing picks up a lot. But I know on future rewatches, it's probably going to be TSA through the first half. This movie also has a lot of awkward humor that I really don't think worked. Mission Impossible isn't known for its comedy, but it has had funny moments before. But this wasn't funny, it was just plain awkward. And I know at this point it's kind of cliche to say, but the stunts Tom Cruise does is still very respectable and impressive. Although there are a lot less action scenes than normal for this franchise. Usually the MI movies have a couple of really big action sequences, and a handful of smaller action sequences throughout the film. There's really only like 3 big action sequences in the film. There's not very many smaller action sequences. It's much more of characters talking. It's still very powerful, to an extent even more than the action. But the action that is in the film is great. I don't think it's the best action in this franchise, but it's still great and very well done. There's one underwater sequence, which is really well done, very suspenseful. But if I'm gonna be honest, I don't think the big final plane sequence that's been built up with all the marketing is really that great. Now don't get me wrong, it's still really good. Very suspenseful, my heart was pounding out my chest, I was clenching my seat, some great stunt work, but it really just didn't hit like climaxes in this franchise have in the past. I'm sorry, but Gabriel is not a compelling villain. I don't think he was in Dead Reckoning, and he's not in this one. Just telling you some glimpses of his history and feud with Ethan doesn't automatically make him a great villain. In the AI villain in this movie, the Entity, I thought was used well, but it could have been used more. I do feel like it was underused. It's still a threat, it looms over the story, but I don't think he felt as intimidating as in Dead Reckoning Part 1. For example, they introduced a cult that is following the Entity, which I guess was just used to further emphasize the scale of the Entity, but I thought it was going to come into play at some point in the film, kind of in the same vein as the Riddler's henchman, the Batman, but it never did. But the stakes are definitely the biggest in this franchise so far, and you do feel that. Like this one scene where Ethan actually talks to the Entity, which was very well done. It makes you really understand and feel the severity of this mission. And again, not to compare this to the other Mission Impossible movies, while yes, this did feel and was a really good epic finale to this saga, it wasn't a great finale. Not a Mission Impossible standard finale. Again, Final Reckoning was really good. Honestly, I think Fallout made a better finale to this franchise. Again, Final Reckoning is really good. If you're a Mission Impossible fan, then I do recommend it. I wouldn't call this a disappointing end to the Mission Impossible saga, but as a big finale to the Mission Impossible saga, it just felt ever so slightly underwhelming. But just as a movie, it's really good. Also, if you enjoyed this video, thanks for liking and subscribing. Bye guys for now, bye guys, Thacker.